Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Conversations with Coaches podcast. I'm your host, Kevin, and I once again have a returning guest, someone who was an absolute delight to talk to and very thought-provoking to talk to. It's been a while. I think it's been a year, somewhere in the vicinity of a year, as I spoke with Christine Sauer. Let me reacquaint you with Christine. She's a retired physician and naturopath, specializing in helping people to grow their businesses, live better, and thrive longer by using cutting-edge neuroscience through the brain power system and five-dimensional brain health coaching. We're going to get into the deep end today, I think, a little bit, even in our very short time together. So, Christine, it's just great to talk to you again. I remembered speaking with you and I had fond memories, went back and listened to our old episode. I was like, oh, yeah, I did a lot of Googling after we talked last time. I was like, I got to learn more about the stuff that we were talking about. So it's really great to have you back.
Thanks, Kevin. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. I also listened to the last episode and I enjoyed the way you talk. I said, hey, I'm looking forward to meeting him again and being of service to all the listeners. Far and wide.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. We were talking about right before I hit record about how there's a three-dimensional, like a three legs on the stool part of why I love doing the podcast so much. Like selfishly, I get to talk to people like you. And so I learn a lot. I get a lot from it. I learn so much. I get a lot to think about, a lot to feel about. I'm able to give something to the coach, give a slightly elevated platform, a little bit of amplification, something that can spread the good word, and let people see what these kinds of conversations can be like, and whether or not coaching is right for them, and who might be the right coach for them. I like being able to serve all of those purposes and all of those people, myself included, selfishly speaking. So let me stop talking about me and let me just talk about some of what you do. Now, we're only really going to scratch the surface, but we're going to start with your program, Train Your Brain for Success. Talk a little bit about that.
Most people don't realize that everything you do, success in everything you do, at work, at life, in your relationships, in parenting, starts with an optimized brain. That's what my mentor, Dr. Daniel Amen, says in his books, Change Your Brain, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. It is true. Mental health starts with brain health. It is not enough to talk to a psychologist. It can be helpful if the psychologist is good, but you also have to optimize your brain. Otherwise, it won't take. And I'm the example because I struggled with mental health issues for over 10 years. Before then, I said to myself, that's enough. And I dove deep into the science. And that's when I reinvented my life, reinvented my business. And I chose to stay unlicensed, although I could have gone back to being licensed. But in the current environment, I'm glad I'm not. Because as a coach, I can say to my clients what I really think is in their best interest.
It's a very great distinction to be able to it's completely unsurprising to me that you prioritized your ability to serve your clients best over any sort of formalized, structured approval, licensing, because sometimes it's honestly, we all ideally would hope that the licensing, and that sort of industry approval and the industry certification is something that helps us serve our clients better. But sometimes it really is an obstacle. And I don't know, I just wanted to say I really respect and appreciate that decision from you to put your service to your clients first. That's impressive.
Absolutely. And I also find that it's more private as a coach, because as a licensed provider, when somebody wants to get insured, health insurance, life insurance, they always ask, when did you see a doctor? Did you see a psychiatrist? Did you see a Oops. The premiums, I'm not required to disclose it to anybody. Well, if I'm compelled by code of law, but that's rare. I haven't experienced that. So I don't have to tell anybody, not your employee assistance plan. It has advantages when you use your own money to pay.
It does.
Especially when you're younger. Young professionals, you don't want nobody to know if you have issues. It can affect your job, eligibility. You won't be promoted. Your boss looks down on you. Mental health has a lot of stigma still attached. It's a shame. I hate it, but it's a fact.
Yeah. Yes. Speak a little bit more about that, actually, because I feel like that ability to you have these multiple purposes you're trying to serve in life, and you're trying to grow your career and grow professionally, but there's so much stigma and so much baggage around mental health that it really it cramps the space in which you have to explore it and develop it and really attend to your needs, whatever they might happen to be. And talk about how you particularly, but like coaching in general, but you specifically are just really, you're able to create that space and that safety and that privacy to do that work at any age, but especially early. I feel like that's a really important light to shine.
I see so many young people that start off being put on several psychiatric medications, and it makes their emotions flat. They can't experience life anymore. I happen sometimes, I call it a little derogatory zombie pills, which is really what many people experience on those drugs. It's sad.
Yeah.
Don't do that to young kids. There's better options.
Yeah.
At least most of the time. I mean, psychiatric drugs have a very narrow thing, but I was with Dr. David Burns. I love him. Feeling great, feeling good together. Excellent books. I can only recommend them, Dr. David Burns. And he does a form of cognitive therapy called it team therapy. And I'm level 1 certified, so I'm half a therapist, I could say. I'm just not nice. But I was on a Zoom call with him on 200 other participants, but I asked him a question. I said, what do you think of antidepressants? And you know what he said? He said, I'm a psychiatrist for 35 years. I have not prescribed antidepressants for 30 years. I think they're not necessary and they make the pharmaceutical industry richer. I think he knows what he's saying. He's old enough, he doesn't care anymore.
That helps.
Obviously,
That
my
helps.
experiences line up with that because my own brain has become much better, more strategic after I took myself off all the drugs in a very strategic and slow and measured way because they have serious side effects if you try it yourself. So if you're thinking of doing it, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to talk with you about it. It doesn't cost a penny to talk with me about things. Anyone work with, that's different. But then we can talk about that beforehand. I'm reasonable. And the thing is, it's important that you do it with somebody to help you and not just stop them from one day off the others. And I see still family doctors who say, oh, you don't want to take them, you stop them. It's the first thing to do. You're bound to fail. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And it's so like when you explain it like that, it sounds so simple. You're like, of course, duh, you should be very deliberate and very strategic and very careful when you're essentially shifting your support structure for your brain from one type of structure to another, whether it's chemical to a different sort of optimization, like the one that like the kind that you provide. It's just when you think about it, you're like, it's almost like in my head, I have the image of when people move like old houses, like they take a house and they put it like basically on a truck and they move it somewhere else, whether for its preservation or whatever the purpose might happen to be. And in my head, I have this, it's just this giant careful ordeal where you have to be so careful moving the house off the foundations, laying a new foundation, moving the house from one place to another, putting the house back down, making sure it doesn't break or sag or and I have this in my head as sort of like an evolving analogy, but like you think about when you're changing the entire support structure of your brain and how it works, treat that with great care. Get help, get guidance, professionals who can help you make that transition because it's massive.
Kevin, I like that comparison with the house. I sometimes say, build your house of health and start with a blueprint and don't just start with a shingle. And many people go to the store, say they go to the health food store, grab a supplement, and then they don't see a difference and think it should work. No, you have to rebuild or build or renovate your house of health from the ground up if you really want it shiny, nice, and beautiful, especially when you put it on a different foundation. And I'm sorry, but chemical pills are not a good foundation. It's like building it on quicksand. Crumbles after a while.
Well, speaking of tools of the trade, you mentioned something that you wanted to talk about specifically today. Talk about your 1, 2, 3 calm video. I want to hear more about that.
Oh, I love that. In the course of I think I'm now 40 years in healthcare, I've learned a thing or two. And one of them is to really how to de-stress, turn off anxiety and voice in less than 10 minutes. So I said, wow, I have to teach that. So I'm giving it away on my domain 123calm.org. It's an org. And when you go there, you can give me your email and then I show you on the video. I drive you right to the video, and you can intend if you go with the video. Don't do it when you're driving. you'll feel 100% calmer afterwards, I promise. If not, let me know and we'll do something else. And a combination of methods that I learned over the years. One of them that I'm very fond of is havening techniques. It is an amazing method. Many people know EMDR or EFT, the tapping. And I always say it's EMDR on steroids. It's so much more effective. It's another psycho physical method. It's a touch method. You touch yourself. Well, not in that sense, but in a good sense. You hug yourself, you stroke yourself, you give you hugs. I'll show you on the video. Just go with me and do it in a quiet place. If not, well, wait. You get the replay of the video, of course. And I'm actually at the current time making a little free course to explain a little bit how it works to help the people out with that.
Oh, that's lovely. And I really do love just the idea of starting with calm, because there's so much, there's so frequently so much noise and movement and chaos and franticness and stress in life. And sometimes the real work can't even begin, or the work can't even begin until you're able to access some calm, some steadiness, some stillness that can then allow you to perceive other things that might be happening in your life, or hear other noises that might be getting drowned out. And it just feels like such a great place to start. Just like just turn the volume down. Here's how. And I love that you might. I'm quite taken with the name 1, 2, 3 calm. It almost sort of like appeals to that moving too fast part of my brain. It's like 1, 2, 3. Let's get through. Calm. And it's something about even just saying the word out loud. I know I'm putting a little bit of a tone into it, but I don't know. To me, that I respond to that structure where it's like it's speaking to my chaos and promising me some stillness, which is good. That's the kind of thing I love.
You know, especially since the pandemic, you notice when you drive your car in traffic, people are so much more irritable. They cut you off. They show you the finger. They swear at you. Thankfully, I don't hear it. But what they do, you can see their lips moving. And my husband responds. It's hilarious. And and he has to watch the video sometimes. It's fun. And yes, our world is more and more hectic. And actually, 15 years ago, they did a study, and the human attention span was about 16 seconds. And Dr. Amen, I teach his brain health courses. I'm on his teaching team to young people, to students on our school or the private school. And in this class, it was taped in 2016. I used some of the video content for the class. He says human attention span is 8 seconds, which is shorter than that of a goldfish of 9 seconds. Now, that was 2016. The recent estimates are 3 seconds. Oof. It's evolution going the wrong way, because what you need is calm, focused confidence to be successful at work. If you're starting with a frazzle brain, and you don't know, you're jumping from one thing to the other, then you can go to the doctor. You get pills for ADHD. They help a little bit, but they really don't make a lasting difference, because you need something different. You might try mindfulness. And yes, I'm a big fan of mindfulness. The problem is all those classes and yoga classes, they take forever. And I thought, how can I help all those stressed professionals? And I talked to them, and 80-90% are stressed out. My son is one of them. He works as a professional in London. He's stressed out. How can I help those people quickly and effectively? And that's why I made that video.
I love it. I'm looking up at the Zoom clock, and we've already been chatting for over 20 minutes. It makes one of the delights and my major responsibility as a host is like I have so many more questions. So if people have half as many questions as I do and want to learn half as much as I want to learn more about you and about what you do, where's the best place for them to go? I'm sure you have a website. I know you're pretty active on LinkedIn as well as maybe other social media. So where can the listeners and me go next? Aside from 123calm.org, link will be in the show notes. Where else can people go to find out more, to learn more, and to begin?
You know, the easiest way is just Google my name, Dr. Christine Sauer. And then go to the link that you like best. My website comes up, LinkedIn comes up, Chamber of Commerce, something comes up. All my links
are just the old Google.
Something. Yeah, Google me. I'm on Google.
I love it. Just Google me. Well, Christine, once again, thank you so much. I feel like I could keep you for hours and hours and hours. This is like, I feel like this is the perfect bite-sized, not tease, but piece of the pie. And quite frankly, next step, listeners, if it's not already clear, go to 123calm.org. Link will be in the show notes. You could type that into Google too. It'll come right up. And just take, what is it, 10 minutes? It's a 10-minute video?
9 minutes and a half, I think.
10 and a half minutes. Because let's round it up to 11. You've got 11 minutes to dedicate to this, and you want to give it a shot. So I just wanted to say that before I let you go. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we closed out, Christine?
Thank you very much, Kevin, for having me on the show. I love those quicker sound bites because people just don't have the attention span anymore.
Got to speak to people where they're at, and if people only have 3 seconds, maybe they can slice off 15 minutes for us, maybe while they're doing the dishes, and hopefully we can reach them where they're at and address what needs to be addressed first, so that the bigger work can begin in earnest.
One last word.
Oh yeah.
If you're curious about something magical, go to the 123calm.org and read the emails that I sent you afterwards, because I talk about magic and stories in those.
All right. Now that's a tease. Go watch the video, sign up to watch it, and then keep an eye on your inbox for what comes next. That's beautiful. Okay, I should let you go down. And also, I want to share gratitude as well. Thank you so much for being on. Thanks for talking to me again. I'm almost certainly going to reach out to you in like another 3 or 6 months and see if you want to chat again for 15 minutes about whatever else is new. This has been wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.